In Mr. Rainier's direct examination, he asked you questions about a letter you wrote to Alex Kalinda about Kevin Jackson. Do you recall that testimony, sir? Yeah. Sir, I think the government marked this as Exhibit 341. Do you recognize this to be the letter you wrote to Alex Kalinda? Yeah. Okay. And the information about Kevin Jackson, that would start at the bottom of the second page, correct, sir? And do you need me to bring you a copy, or can you read it okay on the screen? No, I can read it okay. And it says, the only thing I ever told a tale is that what you're saying, sir? Yeah. Anything I ever told a tale on about was Kevin Jackson giving me drugs. Do you see that? Yes. And then it says, because dude, what? I can't read your handwriting. Don't worry, mine's worse. What's it say? Dude, what? Like dude them instead of saying them. Okay. And so, as I understand this letter, you had told state and federal authorities a lie about Kevin Jackson giving you drugs. Correct, sir? Yeah. And that lie would be a manipulation of state and federal law enforcement authorities. Correct, sir? Objection. Argumentative. Sustained. Objection sustained. But we agreed it was a lie to the feds and to the state authorities. Correct, sir? Asked and answered. Yes. Thank you. Now, sir, in addition to telling a lie about Kevin Jackson, isn't it also true that you asked a man by the name of Camry Moore to tell lies about McCoy Walker, T-Red, other defendants in this case about criminal activity? No. Your answer to that question is no, sir? Yes, sir. Are you aware that Camry Moore's lawyer? Objection. Hearsay. Objection sustained. In your conversations with anybody at this table, anybody on behalf of the federal government or state government, did they ever ask you if, in fact, you asked Camry Moore, another inmate, to say anything about these defendants at this table? Yes. Objection. Calls for hearsay. Overruled. And what, in fact, Miss Jody, can I have my question back? I'm sorry. Sir, so tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what, in fact, what dealings you had with Camry Moore in connection with these gentlemen. I didn't have no dealings with Camry Moore, only that we was on the tier, that if I could tippy-toe and peek at McCoy Walker in them tier, McCoy and Pound tier. So the extent of your dealings with Camry Moore in connection with these men was to simply look at them over the tier? Yeah. Why would I tell Camry something about them? For what? And who is Camry Moore, sir? How do you know him? They brought him. He was in Tangible Hole with me. But then they brought him over there to where I was on the segregated tier. Do you know him from the streets? No, sir. He knew. I didn't know nothing about him. He knew a lot about me. He came in there complaining about the guy that I wrote the letter to Alex about, Travis Bradley. Lied on him, jumped on his case. He jumped on this other dude. He was telling me not to talk to somebody named Murphy and go tell them that Mom said that, said this. Just pretty much trying to come in with a little weak game. And I peeped it out. So I got off the tier with him. And the letter to Alex, was that the letter we just looked at? Or was that a different letter to Alex? Yeah, he was referring to the dude, Travis Bradley. And sir, can you think of any other reason based on your experience, your knowledge of Camry Moore, why he would want to say that you were trying to influence him or intimidate him to make up stories about these men? I can't. I don't know why he said that. Because, I wasn't holding him down or forcing him. The first thing I pretty much asked him when I woke up and found he was on the tier was, why they put you over there by me? They usually don't let anybody but ICE, immigration, come on that tier. And I was asking him what made him so special. Why they put you by me. And he told me he asked him to come by me. And I gave him the eye. I wanted to know why he wanted to come by me. Did you have any fights with Camry Moore in jail? No. Is that the extent of your involvement with Camry Moore? Just what you described? We've probably played a couple of one-on-one basketball games and talked, socialized, watched TV, watched the NBA championship, something like that. Any arguments with Camry Moore? Yeah. What would you guys argue about? Just specifically, it was time for Ramadan, and I kept telling him I was fasting, and he kept playing and doing kiddie stuff. I mean, he a kid. I ain't trying to assassinate his character, but he a young guy, small guy, and just kept playing. And I don't think he understood what Ramadan meant, so I kept telling him. So the day after I had arrived for the Hankton trial, I got off the tier with him, because I seen he wasn't going to stop playing, playing them little mind games or whatever he was doing. Okay. Anything else about Cameron Moore, or is that it, sir? Nothing, but he was telling me about his case, and the dudes came back that testified on him was on the tier. He needed me to go tell Mr. Murphy something about Ma telling me. He's saying he shot somebody named CD, or LC, and when LC woke up out his coma, he screamed my name, pretty much asking me to get on his case and go lie on Ma, since he'd been lied on by Travis Bradley, so he said. Go ahead and finish. I'm sorry. That's it. The person you're referring to as Maul, is that someone whose real name is Jamal Holmes? I don't really know the guy's name like that. I just know he came back from either Pollock or Yazoo. He came back from the BOP and came to Tangible Hole where we was at. Do you know Maul's real name? I can't really say. I only know him as Maul, sir. Alright. Thank you, sir. We'll move on. Mr. Rainier showed your plea agreement that you entered actually in this case, correct, sir? The federal court plea agreement. Let me be more specific. Yes, sir. And that's an agreement that you have with the United States Attorney's Office here in New Orleans, correct, sir? Yes. And this is a document you would have signed, correct, sir? Yes. And it's a document you would have read, correct, sir? Yes. And it's a document that you and your lawyer would have had input on in discussions with the federal government before it was finalized. Correct, sir? Not really me and my lawyer. Miles went over it specifically with me when I wrote the judge and asked him could I get it, because I didn't get it until 2016, like July or August, I think. And he called me down here, and Miles specifically went over it with me word for word. And so, anyway, you were able to go over this before it was finalized, correct, sir? Yes. And one of the things, we talked about your sentence. We talked, it running coterminous. But another point that's in your plea agreement is this, and it's in bold print. So I'm a little curious about this. It's on page 4 of 8 here. And it says, furthermore, all parties agree that the defendant, that's you, correct, sir? Yes. Will serve his full sentence, whatever it ends up being, after Judge Zaney entertains your Rule 35 motion. Correct, sir? If the judge decides to accept the motion. Right. Yes. In the custody of, and this was a term you used earlier. I want to make sure the jury understands this term. The United States Bureau of Prisons. Do you see that, sir? Yes. And you sought to serve your time in US BOP, correct, sir? Yes. You did not want to be in the Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola, correct, sir? No, sir. Why did you not want to serve your time in Angola, sir? I'd object to relevance, Judge. Overruled. Answer. Yes, please, sir. I felt like it was better in the Bureau of Prisons than in the state jail. Better in what way, sir? I mean, the living conditions. It was kind of foul in Angola, and I was on 23-1. I was on lockdown. Serving your time in US BOP, did you consider that to be sort of a benefit you were getting from pleading guilty and not in Angola? Not a benefit like that. Jail is jail. It ain't like they have rides over there or fun and games over there or nothing like that. I just felt like, the most time I ever done in my life was in the BOP. So I asked them, could they consider me going back to the BOP? And they agreed with that. Correct, sir? Yes, sir. And when I say they, I mean the federal government agreed with that. Correct, sir? Yes. And that's how that got inserted into your plea agreement letter. Correct, sir? Yes. Isn't it true that one of the reasons you didn't want to serve time in Angola is because you think it's full of and you hate? Objection, Judge. Objection sustained. Judge, it's a motivation for objection sustained. That last question is stricken from the record. You're to disregard it. Sir, do you believe that the murders of Kiera Holmes and Magnolia Shorty is the reason why the government was able to obtain indictments in this case and in the state court 39er case? Objection to relevance. Objection sustained. Sir, on your direct examination, and also on the chart, by the way, have you thought of anything else? No, sir. Let me grab it one more time.